Harim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Esaina El Harim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Esaina El Harim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. Esa'enai El Harim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where, oh, where does my help come from? I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where, oh, where does my help come from? You know my help, it comes from God who made heaven and earth. Esainai El Harim Me'ayin Yavo ואין שני, להמשילו, להכבירה, ולראשית, ולתכלית, ולעוז, והמזרח, והוא אלי, וחי גולי, וצור כלי, ועת צרה, והוא ניסי, ומנוס לי, מנת כוזי, ביום אקרא.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm very aware as I stand on the bima right now that this past week could have felt much different than it did. That we could have been mourning the loss of fellow Jews held hostage by an extremist gunman who was invited into their midst in an act of kindness and compassion. Instead, thankfully, we got to breathe a sigh of relief that the worst of our nightmares was averted. And I imagine that many of us have spent this week feeling both grateful and also troubled, all at the same time. Naturally, here at the temple, your team of lay leaders and staff has been redoubling our attention to security and safety, looking to shorten our timeline, to implement next phases of our security plans, to harden the perimeter of our building and train ourselves to stay safe. And at the same time, I feel it is also so incumbent upon us to redouble our efforts not to become paralyzed by fear or allow our hearts to harden overmuch. We lose more if our spiritual lives are darkened by the darkness in the hearts of our worst enemies. I'm reminded of what modern-day philosopher Martha Nussbaum said in an interview years ago with Bill Moyers after the publication of her book, The Fragility of Goodness. She said, "To be a good human being is to have a kind of openness to the world, an ability to trust uncertain things beyond our own control that can lead you to be shattered in very extreme circumstances for which you were not to blame. That says something important about the human condition of the ethical life, that it is based on a trust in the uncertain and on a willingness to be exposed. It's based on being more like a plant than like a jewel, something rather fragile, but whose very particular beauty is inseparable from its fragility. I got to participate in a call that was hosted by the Anti-Defamation League with Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker yesterday. And among the many insights that he offered as to what happened last Shabbat morning, he mentioned his disappointment at not having been able to chant the song that Moses, Miriam, and the Israelites sang at the sea, which was part of last week's Torah reading. The song is so special that it has its own chant, and the Shabbat on which it falls is called Shabbat Shira, the Sabbath of Song. And I pray, as I'm sure you do, that Rabbi Charlie, his fellow hostages, and all of Congregation Beth Israel will grieve, heal, and find a way to sing a song of praise for their redemption. Our service tonight is a tribute to Debbie Friedman, who died the week of Shabbat Shira 11 years ago. She would have turned 70 this year. In many ways, she was a modern-day Miriam who took up her instrument and created liturgical music for us Jews that renewed and engaged and lifted our entire generation who followed her. Her influence on us and on so many of the composers that succeed her is immense and lasting. And Seth and I hope that this Shabbat of Debbie's songs will open, soften, lift, and enlarge our hearts on this Shabbat.
Psalm 97 reads, "Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright in heart." The song is Or Zarua by Dan Nichols. It is not by Debbie Friedman, this song. However, as Rabbi said, so many composers were not only inspired and influenced by the work of Debbie Friedman, but Debbie Friedman was a collector of talent. And Dan Nichols was one of the talented human beings that Debbie Friedman collected and lifted up. And so as we sing this together, feel that lift that Debbie brought us and so many others. Bum biddy bum 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 bum. Namana 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 Or Zaru alat sadi ul Yisrael lev simcha Or Zaru alat sadi ul Yisrael lev simcha. We must keep our hopes alive. We must raise our voices high. We must hold each other tight. We must stand up in the night and be a light. Or Zaru alat sadi ul Yisrael lev simcha Or Zaru alat sadi ul Yisrael lev simcha. We must spread our love around. We must feel this same sacred sound. We must work till peace has come. We must love and live as one and be alive. Or Zaru ala tzadi ul yishrei lev simcha. Or Zaru ala tzadi ul yishrei lev simcha.
We continue now to welcome Shabbat by blessing, lighting the Shabbat candles, pages 2 and 3 in your Sidurim, and it's an honor to invite a member of our stream team, Maddie Eichen, to lead us.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat. As we welcome Shabbat in with Shalom Aleichem, I encourage you to be listening for the final verse of the song, where typically we would say Tzetchem b'shalom, so go out in peace. When Debbie Friedman wrote her version of Shalom Aleichem, she decided to say Shuvchem b'shalom, come in peace. And let's be sure to sing those words, come in peace, together. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh
HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shuvchem l'shalom.
Shuvchem l'shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaLachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 26. Yikadal bitkadash shemei rabba
Amen.
be'amad yivrach chirutei be'amlich malchutei
B'chayechon u'yomechon u'b'chayedecho Beit Yisrael Bagala u'bizman karim.
Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'alam le'omaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata
Tush bechata v'nechemata Damiram be'alma.
Nimeru. Amen.
Amen.
Page 28.
Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach. Le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. Page 30. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
Yay day 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 day. Yay day 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 yay day 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 day. Yay day 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 day. Yay day day day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bidvaro ma'ariv arabim ma'ariv arabim Bechokma poteach she'arim Ubituna mishanei itim Umakalip et hazmanim Umsader et hakochabim V'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirzono. חושך וחושך מפני אור ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעביר ערבים מעריב ערבים.
Page 32.
אהבת עולם בישראל עמך תורה ומצוות ומשפטים אותנו למדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נעשייה בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי חיינו לאורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שם כבוד לעולם ועד. And thou shalt love Adonai thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command thee on this day shall be upon thy heart, shall be upon thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thine house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
On page 39, in a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi kamoka ba elimadonai, mi kamoka neda bakote, dorati hilo osepele, dorati hilo osepele. Malchutecha uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, Elianu ve'amru, Adonai lo le'olam va'ed, Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai yai lai lai yai lai lai yai lai 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 lai.
Page 42.
Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Hamidenu compassion and trust. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu
On page 44, more than Israel has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept Israel. The Shamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש. אותי לעולם, שבת שבת ויהי נפש.
On page 46, we rise for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imahot, U'mevii gula livnei b'neihem, L'ma'an shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim ata Rab lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים והופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Be seated at the very bottom of page 55 by Abraham Joshua Heschel. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week we live under the tyranny of things in space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to the holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of the creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world.
Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Me'amcha Yisrael Utefilatav Be'avat Yikabel Utehil Ratzon Tamid Utehil Ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael Hamecha Shepoch Ruchacha Aleinu V'techezena Eineinu V'shuchacha Litzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Litzion Hamachazir Shechinato Litzion.
We continue with our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav on page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon v'chol ha'shalom. Ki atahu melech adon v'chol ha'shalom. V'tov b'eineinecha Livarech et amcha Yisrael Bechol et uvchosha bishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai Oseh HaShalom.
At this time, Suddenly I'm very, oh, I know why. My microphone turned underneath my mask. We turn our thoughts and our prayers now to all of those who are in need of God's healing presence in their lives. We turn to page 253, where in our Siddur is canonized Debbie Friedman's beautiful prayer for healing, one that so many of us have leaned on and for which we will lean on this evening as we think of all of those people who are in need of renewal and wholeness.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength to bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
From our congregational families, we pray for Chris Argall, Rabbi Marcy Bellows, Betty Cohen, Amy Cooper, Shard DeGrave, Liz Daniel, Elizabeth Draper, Harvey Filer, Reuben Feldstein, Andrew Fisher, Beatrice Fry, Dean Gavney, Jacob Gluckman, Nina Goldman, Maxine Goldstein, Nita Hicks, Ron Homan, Dick Kelvin, Ivy Kirschenbaum, Chris Kuntz, Avery Ledford, Stephen Margolis, Jim Rudisil, Deborah Sanders, Randy Scharf, Julie Sherman, Jean Schimmel, Steve Schimmel, Stephen Spear, Bob Ward, and Billy Wolfson, as well as all of those people who are lovingly listed and remembered and prayed for in the live stream chat.
Misheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Please take a moment of silence.
Oh, say shalom, bimroma, tuya say shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. Oh, say shalom, bimroma,
Once I heard this nigun, which we know as the introduction or part of a Havdalah ritual. I was attending a Kabbalat Shabbat service on the beach in Tel Aviv. In Israel, they sang it not to bid farewell to Shabbat, but to welcome Shabbat into their midst. It's always an interesting experience to hear music that's endemic to the American Jewish experience transplanted to the Israeli Jewish experience, because usually the relationship is the other way around, that we take from the culture and tradition and the music of Israel. But I can tell you with authority that every time I've had that experience in Israel of hearing something American and liturgical, the composer whose music I heard was Debbie Friedman's, Zichrona Livracha, blessed memory. Earlier, I called her a modern-day Miriam. Debbie Friedman has also been called liberal Judaism's Shlomo Carlebach. As one musician once said of her, she picked up Jewish music where it had left off in the 70s, when religion went out of style, and brought it back in songs of surprising poignancy and staying power. Friedman was born in Utica, New York, on February 23, 1951. And she moved with her family to St. Paul, Minnesota when she was 6. She took piano lessons as a child and taught herself to play guitar and compose music at a Jewish summer camp as a teen, listening to the music of artists such as Judy Collins, Carly Simon, and the folk trio Peter, Paul, and Meiri. Instead of attending college, she moved to Israel after graduating from high school and lived on a kibbutz for 6 months. When she returned to the United States, she began attending a St. Paul synagogue, but found the services boring. Not long after, she was riding a bus from New Jersey to New York when a melody came into her head. She joined it to Ve'ahavta, a prayer about unity with God, and she taught it to the Jewish youths at summer camp. Their reaction startled her. The popularity of her Ve'ahavta that we sang this evening led her to make a demo tape, and when she quickly sold 1,000 copies of the recording, she knew she had found her vocation. Over the last 5 decades, Friedman recorded more than 20 albums of songs that transcend all labels dividing Jewish life. You can measure her influence by the fact that virtually everyone uses that Havdalah melody that we began with, often without even knowing it. You can measure her impact by the fact that there is a rich profession of contemporary Jewish musicians when none existed outside of the cantorate before her. You can measure her gift by the way it feels natural now to learn and sing Torah in women's voices and in women's words. And you can savor her gift in the bountiful harvest of her enormous collection of spirited and spiritual songs. How many congregations now muster spiritual energy for the sick with her Misha Berach, as we did this evening, her Jewish prayer for healing? It was written by Debbie for a friend who was struggling to adjust to getting older. And now it is a staple of Reformed Jewish services and a central part of the Jewish healing movement. Among her other widely known songs, she set to music this staple in the American Zionist canon. The words are Theodore Herzl's, the father of modern Zionism, and Naphtali Hertz Imbers, the composer of Hatikva, Israel's national anthem. And the translation is, if you will it, it is no dream to be a free people in Zion and Jerusalem. Im Tirtzu. Besides her liturgical music for the Beit Knesset, the sanctuary, Debbie Friedman also created an entire collection of music for the Beit Midrash, for the Jewish classroom. It was she who composed the Aleph Bet song that our littlest ones learn the Hebrew alphabet with, the one that goes like this: Aleph Bet Bet.
Aleph, bet, bet,
Gimel Dalet Hey.
Gimel, Dalet, Hey.
That one. My children grew up on Debbie Friedman's CDs with all kinds of melodies, teaching them about Shabbat and how to say please and thank you in Hebrew. Among my favorites is one of two of Debbie's renditions of a piece from Pirkei Avot that is often quoted. Hillel would say, Im ein ani li mili, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? Uksha'ani la'atzmi ma'ani, and if I'm only for myself, what am I? V'im lo achshav ematai, and if not now, when? Take a listen.
If I am not for myself, who will be for me? Ukshe'ani lazmani, mani. If I am only for myself, what am I? Ve'ilo achshav ematai. And if not now, when? Hillel was a rabbi and he taught us what to do. The first part of his lesson said, you must be true to you. You have to love yourself if you expect that others should. Having self-respect is something special, something good. He may not need me, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? Ukshe'ani lazmani, mani. If I am only for myself, what am I? Ve'im lo achshav ein matai. And if not now, when?
With guitar in hand, Debbie Friedman sang her compositions at conferences and camps, in synagogues and temples, before rabbis, cantors, Jewish educators, and laity. During her lifetime, she appeared more in synagogue than even the most noted lecturers and scholars. In the generation of the Exodus, Miriam took her timbrel to sing before and with the women. And our modern-day Miriam, Debbie of blessed memory, took her guitar to sing before and with all of us. She leaves us with the twin legacy of her music and of her success in making the songs of women heard and beloved in the synagogue. This is among the most well-known of her songs about women. It is also about Miriam.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing the song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. Then women touched with spirit, she danced toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing the song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long.
Debbie said our words of prayer to music, and she taught modern Hebrew to our children. No text in Jewish life was untouched by her musical hand. She put music to the Psalms, selections of Song of Songs, Torah, Mishnah, Talmud, and this next piece comes from the prophet Joel, and is also our anthem for our confirmation and Shavuot services. And the youth shall see visions.
Childhood was for fantasies, nursery rhymes and toys. The world was much too busy to understand small girls and boys. As I grew up, I came to learn that life was not a game. The heroes were just people that we called another name. And the old shall dream dreams, and the youth shall see visions, and our hopes shall rise up to the sky. We must live for today, we must build for tomorrow. Give us time, give us strength, give us life. Now I've grown, the years have passed, I've come to understand there are choices to be made, and my life's at my command. I cannot have a future till I embrace my past. I promise to pursue the challenge, time is going fast, and the old shall dream dreams, and the youth shall see visions, and our hopes shall rise up to the sky. We must live for today, we must build for tomorrow. Give us time, give us strength, give us life. Today's the day I take my stand. The future's mine to hold. Commitments that I make today are dreams from days of old. I have to make the way for generations come and go. I'll have to teach them what I've learned so they will come to know that the old shall dream dreams, and the youth shall see visions, and our hope shall rise up to the sky. We must live for today, we must build for tomorrow. Give us time, give us strength, give us life. Give us time, give us strength, give us life. Give us life.
There's an old teaching that life is like a musical instrument. God plays upon the instrument, and a time comes when the instrument that had felt the touch of God and had responded to its caressing crumbles and falls into dust. But they who have heard the melodies will have its notes ring in their ears till the last day. Debbie Friedman was a musical instrument clearly in the hands of God. With creativity and singularity of purpose, she answered that touch of God's hands with the melody of her life. She is still a great voice of our Jewish generation, and greater than her loss is our gratitude because her melodies still ring in our ears. We continue with our service, Rising for Aleinu, which you can find on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn now to all of those who have departed, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We mention by name these from our congregational families, died in recent days: Daniel Friedman, Roger Gluckman, Carolyn Lynette, Adam Friedman, and Laurel Jonas. As well, we recall the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the passings of Joanne Carr, Haskell Harris, George Hickey, Yetta Carney, Sylvia Kempenich, Martha Kaiser, Mildred Heller-Nathan, Lawrence Newman, Irene Rosenberg, Molly Sobel, Miriam Stein, Jean Toledano, Saul Weiss, and Boris Zohar, and all of those who are remembered lovingly in the live stream chat. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for blessing as we join together on page 294 with the mourner's Kaddish. If you're in mourning, or if it is your custom, you may rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam l'amei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit ale, v'yit halal, shemei d'kudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen.
Oh God, forever I will thank you. Oh God, my God, You turn my mourning into dancing, so that my soul might sing to you, so that my soul sings to you, and it not be still. Oh God, my God, forever I will thank you. Oh God, my God, forever I will thank you. Oh Decca.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Len Levi, and I'm a member of the stream team. I'd like to take a moment to thank Rich and Maddie, who are also here tonight as members of the stream team, including Rich, who is running the board tonight. I have a few quick announcements for us. Our Lottie Meyerson Tikkun Olam Committee is working in coordination with Lutheran Refugee Services to support Afghan refugees arriving in Asheville in the next few weeks. Aid is needed in the form of clothing, gift cards, housing, meals, etc. To help, please email David Seligman or reach out to the temple office. The Secure Community Network, in cooperation with the Western North Carolina Jewish Security Task Force, has published a series of security and safety training programs coming up in the next several months. Please take advantage of this great resource and register for one or more of the trainings. All information is in your email that went out on Thursday. Additionally, our CBHT security team is looking for volunteers. Please reach out to Eric Neymark or Buffy in the office if you'd like to join this effort. Circle of Security Parenting is an internationally recognized program for parents and caregivers of children from birth to 6 years old. The program will be presented over a 9-week period of sessions. An introductory session will be broadcast on Zoom this Tuesday, January 25th. Email Chuck Rosenblum to register. Shabbat Shalom. Stay safe and healthy.
I think it is so fitting to present this month of February's Mensch among us on a Shabbat like tonight, so full of music and song, because this month's Mensch among us is Jerry Garfinkel Gershon. It's been 20 years since she and her husband Sam and their now adult children became CBHT members. And although it would be impossible to list all of the things that Jerry has done to enrich our community over these years, we thought we would focus specifically on her gifts to Jewish education and our sacred music program. Longtime members may remember the days when Jerry conducted Tat Shabbat services as her commitment to sharing the spirit of Shabbat with our youngest congregants. Jerry holds a high record also for the number of times she's delivered Divrei Torah to our community on Shabbat. During my sabbaticals, Jerry has worked with and advised our B'nai Mitzvah students on how to interpret their Torah portions and write their Divrei Torah for their milestone days. Jerry continues to teach in our religious school and brings her enthusiasm and dedication and her love of Jewish learning to our kids every Sunday. She is part of our regular Bonei Shacharit morning prayer group on Tuesdays, and she is a trusted substitute when Seth is unable to be there, and I think that could be said about many of the activities around here. We lean on Jerry quite a bit. Everyone who has heard her sing with our choir, with our High Holy Day ensemble, or even just in the pew behind, knows how sweet and emotive the timbre of her voice is and her love of sacred music. It's a true gift that those in our musical program share with us, and Jerry is no exception. She's fiercely insistent on getting the music right every time, and her commitment makes an impact on the final performance she delivers. For her part in High Holy Days, she is a thorough learner, dedicated to her craft, and capable of stepping into virtually anything musically. Thank you, Jerry, for all you do for our community, and the love and the reverence with which you do it. It is an honor that you are our mensch among us this month. We will conclude our service honoring Debbie Friedman with a piece that is drawn from Torah, the call to Abraham as he was being called to become the father of the Jewish people was Lech Lecha. And Debbie wrote Lechi Lach. She made it both masculine and feminine, and wrote it really as an anthem, wishing all of us a journey of simcha on our path through life. It's the words are on page 341, I believe, in your Sederim if you have one. And we'll close our service with those beautiful, beautiful words in the hope and the blessing that you will go forward into this Shabbat with some peace and some open-heartedness.
To a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lehi Lach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lehi Lach, Lehi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all will praise your name. Lehi Lach, to a place where I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lehi lach. You shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing, lehi lach.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. We miss you, we love you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.